This is Dr. Ron's Words of Wisdom, words on leadership, goal setting, productivity, and a whole lot more. I trust today this will be like a vitamin or a supplement for your mind and your heart. And wherever you receive podcasts from, would you please subscribe to Dr. Ron's Words of Wisdom, leave a brief rating and a written review. It will enable others to be able to locate this podcast. I'm also joined today by folks on Facebook Live as well as the podcast. Please give Dr. Ron's Words of Wisdom a listen. I want to talk today about today. The Bible talks about the fact the last verse of the 6th chapter of Matthew in the New Testament talks about running after different things and worrying about things and anxiety and whatever you do in life right now. These are highly anxious times. But it comes down to seeking first his kingdom and his righteousness, and all of these things will be added to you. And then the last verse, I'm actually going to read it to you rather than quoting it. It just says, it just basically says, therefore do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about itself. Each day has enough trouble of its own. Whatever you are doing in life, there really are only 3 days that you think about. We think about yesterday, we dream about tomorrow, but we live today. And here's what I've learned that we do about our yesterdays. Everyone has a tendency, or at least there is that tendency, to over-exaggerate yesterday. We make the problems of yesterday larger and they almost loom over our todays. We over-exaggerate our failures, and there may even be a time where people over-exaggerate and live off of their past experiences. The good thing about yesterday, and we all have them, some of us have had lots of yesterdays, and there were unbelievable things that happened, good and bad. But don't over-exaggerate yesterday that because you failed or because something didn't go wrong or because you had a setback or you were let go from your job or somebody walked away from you in a relationship or someone crushed your spirit and hurt your feelings. Don't over-exaggerate the impact of yesterday. The great thing about yesterday for all of us is it ended at midnight. And then not only do people have a tendency to over-exaggerate yesterday, oh, it was so tough or it was so awful. The other thing is I meet many people who long for the good old days, and I've been alive long enough now that I was alive for some of the old days, and I can tell you this, they are better remembered than they were lived. We still had problems, we still had difficulties, there were still obstacles, so don't over-exaggerate yesterday. Then there's another class of people, and we just have this tendency to over-exaggerate tomorrow. Oh, tomorrow I'm going to lose 50 pounds out there somewhere. I'm going to start saving for retirement way out there in the future. Oh, one of these days when my ship comes in, when all of the stars are aligned, when I have no problems, I'm in perfect health, and what I'm going to do tomorrow, it's just gone beyond being a dream to almost being a delusion. And so we're kind of stuck in today with this over-exaggerating what happened in our lives yesterday and over-exaggerating or overthinking what we're going to be able to do tomorrow. And today is the only day you have. I don't know if I'll have tomorrow. I don't even know if you'll have tomorrow, but I do know that we have today. And so though the temptation is to exaggerate the past and over-exaggerate the future, here's what I'm telling you most people do is they underestimate today, what you're going to be able to do today. Today is all you have. You are preparing for something. What you did today is preparing you for something. And if you want to start making changes in your life, you have to start today. Now, wherever you are, and there's some of you who are listening or some of you who are watching, you're in a deep spot and you're thinking, I don't know that today I can change it. You don't necessarily change your destiny today, but you start by changing some of your habits and making some good choices. Let me just ask you this. Pray. Ask God what changes you need to make in your life. What habits do you need to give up, and what are some new ones that you need to do? You can't change what happened yesterday. It's done. You can't even change tomorrow because it's not here yet. The only thing that you can change is today. And how you begin to change your day is taking the right actions. When you determine who you are, what you value, what is important to you, then break it down into small choices. The reason many of us fall down when we do try to attempt to make some changes in our lives, we see where we need to be, and we see how far short we fall today. And that tremendous gap just discourages us. I'm broke, or I'm in debt, and here's where I would like to be. I'm not in good physical condition. I'm overweight, whatever it may be. And here's where I'd like to be, and it's so far away. Or I'm single and I'd love to have a partner. I'd love to get married, but I don't have any prospect today. And all that we can do is to begin to break it down. You're not going to be able to save enough money today to retire tomorrow. You're not going to be able to eat enough wheat, germ, and vegetables in the next 24 hours to lose 100 pounds. It's impossible. Quit looking at the gap between where you want to be and where you are, but rather start looking at the gains you are making. It all begins by small decisions and small steps that you take. If you're someone who wants to read through the Bible, you're not going to get it done by midnight tonight. You have to break it down into small, actionable, incremental steps. What you do today will change your tomorrows, change your destiny. Small decisions done today will lead to very big results. Again, I want to say to you, you are preparing for something. Whether we know it or not, what we do today is preparing us for something. If you want to have confidence tomorrow that things are getting better in your life, start making positive decisions today. So rather than just focusing on the gap between where you want to be and where you are today, start noticing the gain. Get your tennis shoes out. Go for a walk for 5 minutes. You'll say, well, what difference is that going to make? It's going to make 5 minutes more difference than if you haven't done anything. If you need to do whatever it is, you just need to start. And here's where you start. You want to see change in your world? You and I have to start with ourselves. I don't have much control over a lot of things that's happening in my world today, but there are some things that I have tremendous control over. I have control over the effort I exert. I have control out of whether I'm going to get up tomorrow, face another day with God's help, and move forward. I have a control over the effort that I'm going to expend. I can't blame that on someone else. I also have control over the attitude I take. And you could say to me, Dr. Ron, you don't know all the things that people are saying and doing. Believe me, I understand what it's like to be alive and to have people say discouraging things, say mean things to you. I get all of that. I perfectly understand it. But start with yourself. You are the person that you can change. Now, as you're making decisions today, you're going to be called to make decisions as you go forward. They're not going to be easy, but it doesn't mean that they're the wrong thing to do. You have to set your priorities. I can't set your priorities for you. I can't say, why don't you do these sorts of things? You have to determine what your vision is, what your priorities are. Take time for God, for your faith, for your family, for your friends. Look at all the areas of your life, your physical health, your financial. I've already mentioned your spiritual health. Don't be discouraged that you're not where you want to be. Stop measuring the gap between where you are, where you want to be, and start measuring what the gains are. The bookends for having a good day and a good rest of your life is you got to start well and you have to finish well. I meet a lot of people who started well, but somewhere along the way they either gave up or they became sour on life, or they allowed the events and circumstances of their lives to sour them. It's important to have these two bookends in your life. Start well, finish well. I have that mantra for my own life. I start every morning, and I mean every morning, and it's so ingrained in me, I even do it on vacation, unfortunately. And that is, I have a series of morning routines that have to do with prayer, Bible reading, journaling, looking. I've already looked and decided what the most important activities of my day are to be, and there are 3 of them that are crucial every day, and I start working on number 1. I exercise. And then I have the other bookend is the evening. I reflect. I pray. I reflect on what it is that I need to do tomorrow. And I begin to identify what those 3 things that I need to be doing tomorrow. And so just as my life, I try to bookend it every day with starting the day well and finishing the day well. There are some days I have to confess that all I have done are the 2 bookends. I did my best to start the day well, and I did my best to end the day well, but the day got a little out of control or things were out of sorts. You don't have to win every day. You just have to win a few of them. You aren't always going to do everything perfectly. You're going to stub your toe. You're going to fall down. Things are not always going to work out just exactly like you would like them to. But start with yourself. You can't control anybody else. Control your attitude. Make sure you're on the right track. And I just want you to know, don't worry about it. Today is the day we're responsible for. Today is the day that we need to pay attention to. Get yourself into the right frame of mind. Find some quiet time where you can really seek out the things that are important, and always start with God. This is Dr. Ron saying, you have been listening to Dr. Ron's Words of Wisdom, words on leadership, goal setting, productivity, and a whole lot more. I ask you, wherever you get podcasts from, iTunes, Spotify, TuneIn, Stitcher, please subscribe to Dr. Ron's Words of Wisdom, leave a rating and a brief written review. Remember, my leadership friend, you are doing better than you think you are. You really are. And until next time, this is Dr. Ron saying, have a great and blessed day. My Facebook friends, God bless you. Thank you for joining us. I pray that you will seize the day for Jesus and make a difference where you are. God loves you, and so do I.